What's up, guys? Nick here, and welcome back to another episode of Viewer's Choice. Today, I'm going to be discussing the results of the best Dream Friend DLC character for Kirby Star Allies. So now, the contestants were Marks, Rick, Kine, and Ku, and Gooey. So let's go ahead and start with number 3. So at number 3, we have Rick, Kine, and Ku with 14.3% of the votes. And I feel like Rick, Kine, and Ku are actually really, they have a lot of abilities to them. Um, Ku has the cutter ability, which is pretty useful. Kine used that splash attack, which is basically a water based element. And then Rick can spit fire and also turn into a rock, and by doing so you can also turn into a curling stone too when you add ice to it or water. So I feel like with this trio, they're pretty good, although I don't really like Kine that much because he doesn't really do much. All he does is flop in the water or flop on the land actually, and he's not really that useful. But Rick and Ku are probably the better of the three. And when you're flying in the air, you have Ku, and then when you're on land, you kind of have Rick. And with the two of them mainly, you can do good damage, and there are a lot of different things that you can do, like add fire to blades or yo-yos or stuff like that that can get that fire ability. And then Kine can use his cutter ability to cut ropes and stuff like that, which is also pretty useful. Anyway, at number 2, we have Gooey with 17.5% of the votes. Now, Gooey's an interesting character. He's really wacky and weird. Kind of reminds me of like a funny character like Mr. Game & Watch or like Zant from like Twilight Princess. And he's kind of just a funny little character. But he's really cool though and really fun to play as. He has like, when he flies in the air, he's kind of like dark matter, and he has like that little rim around him that looks like dark matter, and he shoots like little balls of like dark electricity, which is really cool. His dash attack is also a fireball, which is cool, and he's basically walking around whip because his tongue uses as a whip, kind of like Yoshi and stuff, where he just flings out that giant tongue of his and gets any enemy or power or whatever it is. It can even be like little star bits to get one up, like that's over a wall or something like that, or even healing items. So it's pretty useful, but yeah, he's kind of just fun character to play as. Also, he has a parasol, which is also useful, which I forgot to mention about Ku for Rick, Kine, and Ku, because he can also use a parasol in the air. Anyway, and at number 1, you guys can tell, is Marks with a landslide of 68.3% of the votes. Now, I understand why everyone chose Marks is because Gooey, he was playable in Kirby Dream Land 3 as the second player, so he was already playable. Rick, Kine, and Ku were also playable, I guess, as Kirby could hop onto them in both Dreamland 2 and Dreamland 3. But Marks this is the first time that we're ever able to play as him. And in the previous game, which was Kirby Superstar, he was a bad guy, and now you're able to play as him, which is really cool. And he is very unique and also a crazy character, kind of like Gooey, but he's more insane, where Gooey's just like this weird character that's like silly and stuff, but Marks is like crazy. And he's also really powerful and has a lot to his arsenal. He's kind of like Circus Kirby a little bit, like in Kirby Triple Deluxe, where he kind of is juggling balls and like kicking balls and stuff like that, like little circus balls. And that kind of acts as a projectile, but most of his projectiles are actually like these little light arrows that he shoots out, kind of like in Kirby Superstar, which was one of his attacks. He can also split himself in half and create galaxies that also like suck up enemies and just do massive damage to them. But yeah, overall, he's a great character. Also, I love how he flies and he has those wings, which are really cool looking, by the way. And also, another thing that Marks can do is that he can combine with other abilities, too. So he can combine with Zap, or you combined, I think, with fire maybe, and ice, and all those other elements. But so far I've only seen beams, so don't quote me on that. Um, but yeah, you can also combine with other abilities, which is really cool. So you can have like a little zap ball, a circus ball or whatever, or I guess maybe ice and fire. So you can combine abilities with Marks, which also adds more damage to him and also more moves. And he kind of has his own moveset too. He's, in my opinion, like a combination of like ESP and Circus and um, maybe some other abilities. But he really does have his own moveset. Where, like I said, Gooey is kind of like Whip, Rikine and Ku is Cutter, Rock, and Fire. But Marks, he really does have his own like play style. And like I said, this is the first time you're ever playing as him, which I understand why he won by a landslide, basically. So, yeah, there you have it. Those are the rankings of the best Kirby Dream Land friends. Thank you guys all for voting, and on to the question for this week. So, the question for this week is, do you like the Splatbrella or the Splat Dualies in Splatoon 2? Because if you guys don't know, in Splatoon 2, there are two new types of weapons, which are the Splat Dualies and the Splatbrellas. So this includes the Splat Dualies, the what are they? The Dualie Squelchers, the Dapple Dualies, and the Dark Tetra Dualies for the Dualie sides. But then for the Splatbrella sides, we got the Splatbrella, the Undercover Brella, and the Tentabrella, plus their custom forms. So, in your opinion, what do you think is better? Like I said, the card is in the top right corner, and click the little eye icon, and you can vote whether you like the Splatbrella or the Dualies, because those are the only new types of weapons in Splatoon 2. So, like I said, vote in the top right corner, and you guys will see the results next week. So, thank you guys all for watching. Make sure to vote, and stay tuned for more Viewers' Choice right here on Town Nick. Bye.